Hailed as the El Chapo of Asia, Tse Chi Lop is a name that haunts the dreams of most DEA agents. The self-made billionaire was single-handedly responsible for supplying entire countries with drugs, making billions in the process. So how exactly did a drug kingpin like him land behind bars? Let's find out. Early life. Born in Guangzhou, China in 1963, Tse Chi Lop wasn't exactly born into wealth, and so he moved to Hong Kong in search of greener pastures. It's here that Tse found the course of his life changed as he joined the Big Circle Boys, which was originally formed by imprisoned members of Mao Zedong's Red Guard. The Big Circle Boys had a significant presence in Toronto, Canada, and it didn't take long for Tse to join his peers across the world at the age of 25. Here, his job was to bring in large shipments of heroin to transport to the United States. Many believe that he was working with the Rizzuto crime family at the time. Though Tse was able to work under the authorities' noses for a while, his luck ran out in October 1997. His business was booming, and law enforcement was catching on, an unforeseen consequence of the life he was living. Investigators in the United States were able to pin him down for the prevailing heroin problem in the country, and so when Tse hopped on a plane to Hong Kong that year for some business, he was arrested by Hong Kong authorities as per the request of the American investigators. He was later extradited to the US, where he was put on trial for large-scale drug smuggling. At this point, the future didn't seem bright for Tse. Yet, against all odds, Tse was able to evade a life sentence by convincing the court that he regretted his actions, and upon being released, he would turn over a new leaf by opening a restaurant to help out his aged parents and ailing child. It seemed like a last-ditch effort, yet, for some unbelievable reason, fate showered Tse with kindness as the prosecutors ended up giving him a measly 9 years in prison. It was Tse's second chance. Criminal life. But Tse had no plans of turning his life around. Upon being released from prison in 2006, he quickly picked up where he left off, only this time he didn't rely on others. He chose to stand on his own 2 feet by registering a new company named China Peace Investment Group Company Limited in Hong Kong under his wife's name in 2010, which turned out to be a mere cover-up for his smuggling activities. He joined hands with other triads, namely the 14K Triad, Sun Yi On, Wo Xing Wo, Big Circle Gang and Bamboo Union, making them understand that there's strength in numbers. And so the Super Syndicate Sam Gore came into being, better known as the Company. Despite only being in its infancy, Sam Gore had managed to rise through the ranks and assert itself at the top of the social pyramid. Under a united front, Tse and his minions were able to smuggle ridiculous amounts of methamphetamine and heroin into countries, hiding it between tea packets. Authorities believe that the drugs were packaged in the Golden Triangle in Southeast Asia, an area that has been claimed by militias over the years. The lawless border region where Thailand, Laos, and Myanmar meet boasts the perfect climate for cultivating poppy, the plant used to make opium and heroin. It's believed that Tse and his minions had set up super labs in the valleys of Myanmar. Tse's ingenious business practices also allowed him to gain a reputation of a trustworthy businessman among his peers. In case a shipment was busted by the authorities, Tse would take full responsibility and reimburse his clients without charging more. Though it's worth mentioning that Tse was making billions every year. A small loss hardly faltered his business. According to reports, Sam Gore was valued at a jaw-dropping $30 billion to $61 billion in 2019. Meanwhile, the Australian police predicted that the syndicate was responsible for 70% of the drugs coming into the country. Owing to a flourishing business empire, Tse was able to live a life defined by unimaginable luxury and opulence. He threw the most lavish birthday parties and rented out expensive resorts for his family for months. During one famous incident, Tse was observed losing $66 million at a casino in Macau, all in the course of one night. Yet, interestingly, despite the heavy loss, Tse didn't seem all that bothered, hinting at his endless riches. However, Tse didn't lose himself to the comfortable lifestyle. He had his eye on the prize at all times, working to expand his operations and heavily focused on security by keeping himself surrounded by an army of Thai kickboxers at all times. Though an important thing to point out is that, up until now, the authorities were unaware of Tse's activities. They largely believed that the prevailing drug trade in Europe and the States was the work of many groups instead of one. However, in 2013, the truth unfolded when Australian officers followed a small-time drug dealer all the way to Hong Kong from Australia, where they discovered him meeting Tse of all people. The meeting raised a lot of questions. Just what reason did Tse have for meeting a drug dealer from Australia? Arrest. It wasn't possible for Tse to stay hidden any longer. The authorities were looking into him, and fate would have his kingdom come tumbling down in the foreseeable future, all because of one man's arrest. On November 15, 2016, Chai Zheng-zi was returning to Taiwan from the Myanmar airport when airport officials noticed him acting strangely. He was severely agitated, and his hands were covered in blisters, a clear sign that he was working with dangerous chemicals. Police ended up body searching Chai and discovered 2 bags of ketamine strapped to his thighs. Zheng-zi was swiftly arrested. His 2 iPhones were confiscated, which, believe it or not, shook the very foundation of Tse's empire. Police discovered compromising pictures of tea packaging consignments to a Yangon address. A quick raid and police found 622 kilograms of ketamine and 1.1 tons of meth at the address. It seemed like everything on Chai's phones was a lead waiting to be explored. Among the pictures was also one of Tse Chi Lop, as recognized by one of the officials who had worked on his case before. Slowly, the reality of the situation began to creep up on authorities. They realized that they'd been wrong all along, and the drug trade wasn't the work of multiple groups, but solely one, led by none other than Tse Chi Lop. And so Tse was put on Interpol's watch for the first time in 2019. The hunt was on. According to rumors, Tse was expected to be living in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Yet, for some reason, he managed to evade everyone. Information from Chai's phones were shared with law agencies all over the world, who were able to make some small busts. And the Super Syndicate slowly felt the noose tighten around its neck. When authorities stopped trucks carrying kilos of meth from going over Myanmar to Thailand, Tse's minions simply chose to transport them via Vietnam and Laos. And when that didn't work, the syndicate paid hundreds of Laotians to carry 30 kilograms of their meth in backpacks across rocky landscapes. But the authorities' real target was Tse Chi Lop all along. And so, to execute their mission, 20 law enforcement agencies joined hands for Operation Kungur, that focused on bringing down Tse Chi Lop and his drug empire. Their efforts bore fruit, as Tse was finally arrested while traveling to Canada from Taiwan. He found himself in handcuffs on January the 22nd, 2021, during a stopover in Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. He's since been extradited to Australia to face charges. The future seems grim as he faces the threat of life imprisonment. Australia is looking to charge Tse for trafficking $4.4 million worth of meth into the country from 2012 to 2013. That said, Tse denies the charges. And that's the story of Tse Chi Lop, the King of Kings, Asia's Walter White, and a self-made billionaire. If you like our content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll see you soon with another video revealing interesting cases bordering on controversy and mystery.